To the world, he looked untouchable. A glove, a moonwalk, a thriller. Millions admired him, but almost nobody knew what was really happening behind the fame. This single moment changed history forever. At the peak of his success, something went terribly wrong, and the world kept watching without ever understanding what was collapsing from the inside. This is not a story about fame. This is a story about a cage made from gold records, sold-out stadiums, and childhood nightmares. And the man inside that cage didn't just break, he disappeared, long before his heart stopped beating. Let me take you back. Before the glove, before the moonwalk, before Neverland, there was a little boy in Gary, Indiana. His name was Michael, and he was barely 8 years old. From the outside, he looked like a miracle. A child who could sing like a grown man, who could move like he had been performing for decades. But behind that smile, there was something dark growing. His father, Joe Jackson, was not a normal father. Joe had a dream, and he was willing to destroy anyone who got in the way of that dream, even his own children. Every day after school, Michael and his brothers would rehearse. Not for 1 hour, not for 2, from 4 a.m. until late at night. And if you missed a step, if your voice cracked, if you looked tired, Joe didn't yell. He used wires, belts, electrical cords, whatever was in his hand. Imagine that for a second. You are 8 years old, your body is tiny, your hands are soft, and the man who is supposed to protect you is hitting you because you forgot a dance move. This is where the damage started, not later, right here. Most people never noticed this detail. Michael later admitted, when he looked at his father, he felt physical disgust. Not anger, not sadness, disgust. A child who is supposed to feel safe, feeling repulsed by the man who created him. And the most disturbing part? Michael believed that pain was the price of greatness. He would say years later that his father's abuse was the only reason he became a star. In his mind, you couldn't have success without suffering, and he paid that price every single day for 18 years. No birthday parties, no sleepovers, no summer vacations, just stages, just spotlights, just the sound of his father's voice saying, again. Then came Motown, then came the Jackson 5, then came the screaming fans. By the time Michael was 11, he was already a legend. But here's what the cameras never showed. While other children were riding bikes and scraping their knees, Michael was in recording studios until 2 a.m. While other children were laughing with friends, Michael was signing autographs for adults twice his age. He never learned how to be a kid. And that, right there, is the wound that never healed. Because when you don't get to be a child, you spend the rest of your life trying to go back. And that is exactly what Michael tried to do. The 1980s came. Thriller, Beat It, Billie Jean, the moonwalk on Motown 25. That moment when he slid backwards across the stage, the world lost its mind. He became the biggest star on the entire planet. But behind the fame, everything was collapsing. Here's what the media ignored. By 1984, Michael was barely sleeping. He would stay awake for 48, sometimes 60 hours, just pacing his hotel rooms, drawing sketches, writing lyrics that nobody ever heard. He told his manager, "I'm building a place where I can go back in time." Most people thought he was just being creative. They were wrong. He was trying to rebuild his childhood from scratch, and that place was called Neverland. When Neverland Ranch was finished, the world saw Wonderland. Roller coasters, a zoo, a Ferris wheel, endless candy. The media called it a playground for a man who never grew up. But that was not the full truth. Neverland was not a playground. It was a time machine. Every single thing in that place was designed to give Michael the childhood he never had. He wanted to feed elephants at 3 a.m. He wanted to watch cartoons in a private theater. He wanted to sleep in a room that looked like a fairy tale. Because his real childhood was taken from him. And here's the tragic part that nobody wants to talk about. The more famous Michael became, the more isolated he grew. He stopped trusting adults. He stopped trusting his own family. He stopped trusting everyone who tried to get close to him. Because in his experience, every adult who said, "I love you," eventually wanted something from him. This is where the story gets dark, and I need you to listen carefully. Michael began spending time with children, not in a strange way at first, but in a broken way. He told his friends, "Children don't judge me. They don't want my money. They just want to laugh." To Michael, children represented safety. They represented the innocence that was stolen from him. But the world did not see it that way. And in 1993, everything exploded. The first accusation came out of nowhere. A family claimed Michael had done something unthinkable. The media went crazy. Headlines everywhere. Cameras outside Neverland 24 hours a day. Michael was on tour at the time, in the middle of performing for millions of fans. And overnight, he went from being a legend to being a monster in the eyes of half the world. But here is what most people never knew. There was no evidence, no proof, nothing that held up in court, but that didn't matter. The damage was already done. Michael canceled the rest of his tour. He checked into rehab for painkiller addiction, and he stopped eating. His own sister, LaToya Jackson, publicly accused him on television. His own family turned against him, and Michael, who already trusted nobody, completely shut down. He later said in a private recording, "Why do they want to destroy me? I have given everything to the world." But the world didn't want to hear that. The world wanted a villain, and Michael, the most famous man on earth, became the easiest target in history. He settled the case out of court. Not because he was guilty, but because his lawyers told him a trial would destroy him mentally. They were probably right. But the settlement made him look guilty in the court of public opinion. And from that moment on, Michael Jackson was never the same. The late 1990s were a slow disappearance. He stopped going out in public without masks and umbrellas. He stopped giving interviews. He stopped trusting almost everyone. And his body started failing. Most people don't know this detail. Michael had lupus, an autoimmune disease that attacks your skin and organs. He had vitiligo, which destroyed his skin pigment. He was in constant pain every single day, and to cope, he turned to prescription drugs. Not for fun, not for recreation, just to sleep, just to stop the pain, just to make it through one more night. By 1999, Michael was barely functioning. He would perform for 2 hours, then collapse backstage. His security team would carry him to a private room, and doctors would inject him with sedatives just to get his heart rate down. And then, a few hours later, he would wake up and do it all over again. Imagine living under that kind of pressure. Not for a week, not for a month, for 40 years. Then came 2005, the second trial. This one was even worse. Michael was accused again, and this time, the world watched every single day. He showed up to court looking pale, fragile, sometimes wearing pajama pants under his suit jacket. The media mocked him. Late-night hosts made jokes. Tabloids called him every name you can imagine. But here is what nobody talks about. During that trial, Michael's health deteriorated so badly that his lawyers had a doctor on standby 24 hours a day. He lost so much weight that his clothes had to be retailored every 2 weeks. He would fall asleep in court because the medication made it impossible to stay awake. And through all of it, he still smiled at the cameras. Why? Because he had been smiling through pain since he was 8 years old. That smile was not happiness. That smile was survival. On June 13th, 2005, Michael was found not guilty on all 14 counts. He walked out of that courtroom a free man, but he was not free. He was broken. After the trial, Michael never returned to Neverland. He told his staff, "That place feels poisoned now. Every tree, every ride, every stuffed animal. reminded him of the handcuffs, the cameras, the accusations. He spent the next 4 years homeless, not on the streets, but in hotel rooms, rented mansions, the homes of friends. He had hundreds of millions of dollars and nowhere to call home. And late at night, when the medication wore off, he would call his assistants, 3 a.m., 4 a.m., crying. He would ask them, "Do you still like me? Do you think they hate me?" A 45-year-old man, the biggest star in music history, whispering into the phone like a frightened child. June 24, 2009, the last night of Michael's life. He rehearsed for hours, he danced, he smiled. He told his dancers, "This is going to be the greatest show the world has ever seen." Then he went home, and he asked for his milk. His doctor, Conrad Murray, gave him the propofol. Michael closed his eyes, and he never opened them again. June 25, 2009, 12:13 p.m. The heart of the king stopped beating. The world lost a legend. But here is the tragic irony that haunts everyone who loved him. In his final months, Michael was preparing a documentary called "This Is It." He wanted the world to see him rehearse. He wanted to prove he still had magic. But the world didn't know that he had already said goodbye. In one of the last rehearsals, he asked his choreographers to add a new ending to the show. He wanted to walk off stage, turn around one last time, and bow for 10 seconds. He never explained why. Some say it was goodbye. Some say it was surrender. Some say it was the only way he knew how to cry in public. So, what is the truth? Was Michael Jackson a genius? Yes. Was he broken? Absolutely. Was he a victim, a villain, or something in between? The answer is complicated, and that is why, even today, nobody agrees. The FBI files on Michael Jackson remain partially sealed. Some documents won't be released until 2029. Maybe the full truth is in those files. Maybe it isn't. Maybe the full truth is simpler and sadder. Michael Jackson was a little boy who never got to grow up. He was trapped in a body that was failing. He was surrounded by people who wanted his money, not his happiness. And he spent his entire life trying to find something he lost when he was 8 years old. Innocence, safety, unconditional love, and he never found it. The world remembers the glove, the moonwalk, the thriller dance. The world remembers the legend, but the world forgets the little boy from Gary, Indiana, who just wanted to play. Behind the success, there was a human being slowly breaking apart. And the saddest part, most of us were watching the whole time. We just didn't want to see it. If you enjoy disturbing true crime and dark history documentaries, subscribe for more stories the world can't forget.